Hey, I'm Decathlon Gamer. Welcome back to PCM23 Lions, episode 114. Red Ashbourne, Frankfurt. I have concluded look into the new pool of riders for the coming signing period as we've hit our first dossier point of the year. Now, all of the dossier points, the first 50% of them, have all gone towards retention of guys on the team. Mason Samuels, the top one of that list. There are still others left. There is, theoretically, one key guy that we could end up losing. We'll hang on to him if possible, but he's going to be a little bit of an afterthought in the process. There was a couple things that just didn't fare well regarding him, and that was Rotayasir. Now, all Rotayasir is a time trialist. He lacks in every other discipline. Even his flat rating is just, in a sprint race, you could have him as a domestique, but nothing more. And, oh, look, it's Roteas here. Can't climb, but 79's in the time trial. Has a 73 flat. It's good, but it's certainly not Kareem. Not even close. It's 6 points below Kareem. 76 stamina is definitely okay, but I mean, this is not a big profile. Roteasir is about our 4th or 5th highest paid guy on the entire squad. And then has an expiring contract where you would presume that he would want even more. And of our list of expiring contracts, which is pretty long this year, he was second highest behind Mason Samuels in terms of dossier points cost for retention, meaning in theory he's going to be looking for more money again, and I'm not sure we can afford to keep him. I'm not sure I want to expend the dossier points to keep him at the expense of other potential signings in terms of what we have for dossiers, but we'll see if we can get around to getting him. But he's the only one of all of our expiring contracts, which I didn't do a count on it. It's about 8, 9, 10 guys. It's actually probably 10 plus. Roteasir is the only one in red. The only one that does not have interest in coming back. We enter the last 16 kilometers and set up our train, start getting to the front. Our first two guys, Musa and Bosco, are just going to get us there. Today, expectations were high. I was looking at one expected zero race day condition, a team full of plus ones, and then one guy on an expected plus 4, and that was Maccabee. For everybody else, that balance should have gotten us I think it was a plus 9 on the expected. Yes, yeah, plus 9, plus 4, and 5 guys with a plus 1. Oh, Musa's done. Oh, my bad. I need to focus. We'll continue on with this discussion here in a moment, but can we get these guys in place? We don't have that. We ended up with, what, a plus 3? Pretty weak stuff. Bosco's about to run out of energy, but he is stretching things, and the field split off, at least momentarily. Those guys that are just making contact again, there's no way that they're going to actually do anything. We'll go at 98, but there's Kareem in place. There's Daniels there. Okay, full team in place. 99 from here. Gel up for everyone else. Even though we only got a plus 3, which is a minus 6 on the day, I am hopeful. We haven't won a sprint in forever. Certainly not a World Tour sprint. We have never won a World Tour sprint. Ever. Matt de Villiers has been our guy for a long time, with a 76-75 being the best, and he's been at that for quite some time. He's near his maximum, doesn't have much left, and hasn't grown or changed much. Maccabee is a high-profile, high-potential young gun who has leveled up and has leveled up in a huge way. He still has no acceleration. He still has poor flat. He still can't climb. He still doesn't have stamina. But Maccabee has leveled up his sprint by an insane margin. He's got an 80 sprint now. That's his base now. And he's got a +5 today. He was the expected +4. He's got a +5. So he's got at least a +1 on his draw. Acceleration's only a 69. That's a worrying part. But a top speed of 83. De Villiers is a 76, and we never see him have more than, I think the most we've ever seen is maybe a +2. Like, De Villiers never has great draws. And I think we've had +2s, maybe the best we've ever had for him. So a 78, maybe we've had a 79 once, but he's never topped 80. Now Maccabee has that good top speed. Now, the acceleration piece does hurt. It hurts, especially with the lack of stamina, because the acceleration piece and burning through stamina, once you get to that top speed, maintaining that top speed for a prolonged stretch to win a sprint is difficult when you have no stamina and the acceleration is poor, meaning reaching that top speed takes a while. 5K to go. Let's do the race. But I'm excited about the maybe of Maccabee. He's got one of 3 pieces here, and the other 2 hurt him a lot. But with that +5, he's got some bonuses. He's definitely got the stamina piece taken care of today. With a +11, it's a 79. With the resistance, it's a 77. That's good enough. And with that 83 sprint, it's as good as we may ever see it. That acceleration, though, is still just a 69, so that one's going to hurt. The flat, that's a 75. That one's definitely helping him right now. He's almost maxed out on yellow. He's pretty dang close on the red bar. If we can give him a good lead out, we can time this right, it could be a win. But I've never raced with his profile, or certainly not in a long time. Certainly not in PCM23. So when exactly is the right time to hit that sprint button for him? It's going to be a little bit of a guess for me on the timing of that. When to maximize his speed but not run out of the stamina. Okay. Big task. 5K to go. Kareem is the lead out guy that we're usually onto by now, so we're not going to spend too long here on Roteus here, but he does have a 77. You can see one team is definitely getting out in front. We do not need to wait for the last little bit here from Roteus here, as you know, these guys are too well placed right now. So Barry, 79, 78, add a 4 to it. So he's got an 80, like we do, but he's got an 82. He doesn't have the stamina, but he does have the resistance for that little bit. There's Grunewagen and Delay, like 86, 86 for Delay. Look, we're not favorites here, but we always punch above our weight. Can we get this thing right? And those 2 at the very least are just following. So on to Kareem. Roteus is out of the way, and you can see how they lost a little bit for a moment. Hard to the inside. There we go. Maccabee is still not ideally placed, and it's already 2.6. We are going to start sprinting. Daniels, now 2.5. We got a big right-hander coming up here. Getting into that open space, pulling back ahead. 1.6. And Maccabee is looking really strong, so if we can find this clean air, I'm going to get Daniels to go hard right. De Villiers did not push through. Kareem just squeezed off Maccabee as well, so you can see the big gap open here. Part of this being acceleration, right? Maccabee does not have acceleration, but at 1.1K, it's a big ask for him to already be sprinting. He's going to have to start closing that gap on De Villiers and then now sprint at 800 meters. And he's way too far behind. De Villiers did not give him a solid lead out at all. Kareem sweeping across in front of Maccabee. Which one is it? Did Kareem block Maccabee? Could be. Was that just that the simple fact that Maccabee has no acceleration? These guys have the acceleration and the top speed. And was he caught out that poor compared? You know, he was, what, 7 points below De Villiers in terms of the acceleration. So De Villiers puts his foot down. Maccabee's going to have a hard time following. He is going to lose some ground, and that acceleration piece takes a bit. Hitting the top speed, that was 22nd, 23rd, 25th, 26th, 27th. Maccabee did finish first for us, but in a horribly uncompetitive way. I did not see his red bar as he crossed the line. I'll see it back in editing later, but my guess is it was probably spent. I mean, we started his sprint at, what, 800? 700 meters? And he was already partially gone, right? Because the De Villiers lead out, whether it was Kareem or De Villiers, whichever one, that separation was already forcing him to soft sprint to close that gap. So he certainly wasn't protected in that instant. Here's the thing, though. This race, okay, it's a write-off. Maccabee had a +5. It's not like we're going to get anything better than that. Can't get anything better than that. That's already the best possible. So, he's a young guy with plenty of potential still. We need to get the acceleration. We need to get the resistance up. I might need to change his training regime to a puncher and to a barrador to work on those two things specifically, because an 80 sprint can, in our hands, we can win with an 80 sprint, right? The 76 couldn't do it. We've had plenty of top 10s. We've cracked the top 5 occasionally. And then there's always just that 2 to 3 to 4 sprinters that are just too damn strong. But we're 2 bike lengths away from winning it. That's with a 76 sprint. An 80 sprint, that can get us 2 bike lengths. That can absolutely get us 2 bike lengths. Today, the train couldn't get us far enough ahead. We weren't out front. We weren't in an ideal position, and we've certainly been there. That's when we've had that top 5, the ideal lead out. Today was not the ideal lead out. It wasn't for a lack of trying, to some extent, blabbing with the mouth. Those early kilometers from that 17 down to about that 8. I'm not sure I did enough there. I wasn't focused enough. Would that have changed the circumstances, though? I mean, we were going 99 with our best flat guys after that. Would we have already been out front, and then it's just a matter of holding it? Maybe. So that could have been a factor. But at the finish, I mean, he got swarmed, and he clearly lacked the acceleration. But he's got so much more potential that develop the acceleration, develop the stamina resistance. We might finally have a rider who can win a sprint. Not there yet, but that 80 is exciting. Maccabee was, what, a 75, a 76? He just got like a +4 to his sprint rating on that level up. Unfortunately, nothing went with it. Like, everything else stayed where it was. It's like he picked up 4 points, and all 4 points were in a single attribute in sprint. Certainly a good one to have. That top speed is phenomenal now. But obviously, and we clearly saw it here, that alone is not enough. Not with, Arnaud Delay, who's a 6-star guy with an 82-82, or was it an 83-83 base. We're ready for the Giro. For Maccabee, that is enough to have him join the 4.5-star club. Join quite a ways up. I mean, he's halfway up that list. That's a solid upgrade, and it puts him as, well, he and Musa as the 2 youngest. Musa was the latest to join otherwise. That's our 3rd inductee to the 4.5-star club this season. It's our 4th upgrade within the season, as we also had Josh De Villiers upgrade further this season as well. So our 4th key upgrade at the top of the list. We're seeing some young guys really start to take over. The whole team is now 25 or younger. The whole team. And at the bottom end, the worst probably 5 prospects are all at this bottom end, plus Tillahun and Lottering, who do have the high potential, and then Careless and Bosco, who are just kind of okay at the bottom end of this list. Most of those are the ones that are the bust. But One thing that I'm noticing is the 4.5 star club and above. It's growing, getting deeper. We've been sacrificing maybe one a year of that club, but we've been inducting more than that. Like I said, this season that's 3 already. The 4-star group was the bulk of the team for quite a while. All of a sudden, we're now looking at just 5 guys left. 5 guys left in that 4-star territory. Jiro's ready to kick off. Quick introduction. As stated previously, we are here for stages. I'm going to look at the profile of each rider and nation and see if there's any opportunities, which nations could have those opportunities to get a boost. Otherwise, we're just looking for points for leaders, key guys. Mason Samuels as one example. All of them have the objective, though it looks like Mason Samuels is already carrying some fatigue. Mansour is carrying some fatigue. Lottering, like these guys haven't even raced. I think the training system is broken this year. Over and over again, you start a race already carrying 50% fatigue, while not even racing in the lead up. Speaking of racing coming, so we're +2s, +1s to start. That's going to jump when those fitness peaks hit to +5s. As the race goes on in the final days, that's going to start to soften and weaken, especially if we're already carrying fatigue. But let's quickly look at the profile, because what we're seeking is stage wins. Mason Samuels, maybe a king of the mountains. Maybe. That's going to take a lot of effort, and I'm not sure I'm wanting to commit that effort this time, this season. Here's the deal, folks. For one, PCM24 reveal trailer just launched. For you, this would be yesterday. Trying to think when this particular episode will be coming out. Yeah, it's a basic launch trailer. It reveals absolutely nothing other than seeing the same game that we've seen for years. It does not have the new engine. That's it. That's all there is at this point. But it is an early June release. It's leap day right now for me. It's March the 1st for you. We got 3 months. 3 months left in this cycle. I'm definitely not going to be pushing this series beyond into the PCM24 cycle, or at least not by more than a couple of weeks at most, because I do want to give a little bit of extra time for PCM24 before I start the new series. Launch day is great. 5 days later is great, but I was so disappointed in what happened with... I've been doing this series for 6 years, and I was 5 for 5 on database gets released. I use the same database every year, 5 for 5. Launched the series, and it's a little bare bones on day one, but it updates, and those updates always worked. Always 5 for 5 every year. Plus years before that, I always started my series for myself before I ever had the channel. I believe PCM 12 was my first edition, maybe PCM 11, and in all of these years, never once have I had what happened this year. There was elements that never updated if you started early, but never 90% of it. 90% of the updates that went into the database never made it into this game, into this series. So I'll wait at least days or a week, see some updates first, and just put out some alternative content in the meantime. Giro. I'm supposed to be starting the Giro, and now I've got a full episode of not Giro. Oops. This may not. Well, no, we'll at least get into stage 1 here, because I can't pass up a time trial. That's just me. Sprints aren't going to happen with this team. Stage 4 looks like a decent opportunity, especially if you can get somebody in the breakaway and the breakaway has a chance to win. But stage 4, breakaway is not going to win that early in this race. So it's going to be a bunch finish, and we do well at this type of profile. So we'll definitely race stage 4, and I think that's where we'll kind of start that next episode. The point that I was trying to make, and I think I went off on a little bit of a tangent and didn't bring it full circle. So bringing it full circle here. The point I'm trying to make is I don't want the remaining 3 months of this series to be just this season. What we're doing with the team and the growth we're seeing, and finally getting some popularity points and some training points in the nation, we're not going to see the results of that if I record every stage of every Grand Tour, of every World Tour race. If I don't quick sim, if I don't bypass, if I don't skip some races, the whole series will finish with just this season. And that's so much remaining untapped potential. Too much. Too much for my liking, and I would hope that it's too much for your liking as well. I'm going to have to let some opportunities go, and I'm going to have to pick my 4 to 5 favorite, maybe 6 favorite stages. And that's going to be it. Not ideal. It's not what we all want to see. You want to see more content, and I get it, but there's only so much time. There's only so many episodes we have until the end of the cycle. Stage 7, that's going to be a hard stage, but if we have the right race day condition, could be a great stage. And we can pick it up probably from the base of the climb, going for it. Stage 8, that's my kind of profile that I like. I tend to do well on those, but I don't know. We're not going to bother with this 34K individual time trial, though. I don't think we're built for it this year at all. 12 is a terrible profile. That's not going to lead to anything. A 74K monster one with a finish, those are hard. Those are really hard. The AI has a real advantage with their rating boosts. That's a tough one to win on, but it could be. That's going to be crazy hard. With Samuels being the only climber, like, there's no way we're going to succeed there. We're not going for GC. That's not going to be a race we're going to do. We're going to skip that one. And probably this one. A third time trial, and a difficult one at that. And that's also why we're just not going for GC at this race. I resisted the temptation. Rarity. Absolute rarity. I'm going to definitely bypass the time trials. We're not built for it. This is not the team for it. Rotates here is not here. So we're on stage 4. And this is that first stage that looked like a good opportunity to go for it. Now that I'm here, now that I'm breaking down the riders and was trying to make the decisions over who to protect and who to ride for, Samuels is the obvious leader. But after that, we're not built for medium mountain. We're certainly not built for the hard mountains. I already recognize that. But we're not built for the medium mountains either. This is a team that's better built for a punchy stage. So as I go through, I'm going to reassess who we ride for and when and why. Because there's some obvious things that stand out. Musa, 79 puncher, but a 60 medium mountain, a 71 mountain. He's not going to do anything. He's on a +5 right now. And it's a horrible waste. We've got an 84 puncher today that is useless because he's not going to make this climb with these ratings. Even though he's got that, he was feeling it a lot more than the others over these 2 climbs. He's right to be a domestique because that 66 medium mountain is just awful. Careless is more well-rounded. He's stronger than Musa under the circumstances. Habtum, same sort of problem. His weakest is medium mountain, but he's got a big +4, so we are protecting him. Unlike Musa, he's a little bit more well-rounded. De Villiers, definitely not a mountain guy, more punchy. We are trying to give him the benefit of the doubt on that. Lottering, definitely more catered to the medium, but just not strong enough. And then there's Samuels, and then Kareem we know all too well. There's a lot of weak links here. A medium mountain is not the way, but we're better built for punchiness, so that's what we're going to have to try to aim for. I still have not taken a moment in between episodes. I will get in and look at the national profile of each of these guys and see who could benefit from something, as we're getting Godu on the attack, first guy on the attack, but right now there's plenty of firepower to respond to it. But we're already within 5k of this climb and reaching the steeper section. If we're going to do something, we're going for a win. Who cares about GC, right? So if we're going to go for it, we need to go for it. Oh, Musa's so punchy. This is going to hurt. This is going to hurt, but this is that acceleration we need to set this up. All right, like I said, we're going to go for the win. So Musa already catches those guys, breaks done, and Musa is toast. But he got a big acceleration there, and now there's 3.5k. We'll go a little more balanced now, start to slow up, but he's done. All he did was overtake Musa and nothing more. But he held that second position briefly. Careless, much more balanced. And now we can set something steady for a little bit here. That was the initial push to stretch and get us out there and split off a group. Now Careless is going to get through that next phase more steady, continue that more steady. Habtum, come on, man. What's going on? You're the punchy one. You should be able to help, but he probably was closing a larger gap of some sort. And there you go. Go do on the attack again with the completely unrealistic ratings. I need to let Samuels overtake Habtum. And I need to close that gap. Godoo did not burst past, so that's good. But Samuels needs to close this gap. Careless still leading it out because Samuels is still not in the position we want him in. And we're trying to set him up. I would have already gone on to De Villiers a while ago. This is the top. Samuels is still not in position, so Careless is just putting his foot down. 34 left, 31 left. Careless is done. It's all Samuels from here. 2.5k. Habtum has a little bit in the tank and is not a sprinter. Samuels is better, so Habtum needs to overtake. 1k. Samuel sprinting. There's too much talent here. Ironsman, Martinez, Rodriguez, Samuel's coming back at these guys a little bit, the ones that went too early, but he's out of the red bar now as well, so he'll start to slow up. And we got 5th place. 5th place. It's a good result, but it's nothing special. 30 riders left in the group. Starts to shake up the GC a little bit, but I don't care about the GC. We want to get some stages. That one wasn't it. Wasn't a bad performance, though. Just the gap. That gap hurt us too much. Habtum was the one who opened the gap. So we know how it occurred. And that's because he ran out of red bar and lost the gap. Fairly bunchy guy. Should have been able to hold that a bit better. Now, did it open up earlier than that? Possibly. And then maybe he was already trying to close it. And that's how he burnt through that red bar. So not sure of all of the details on that. But the key point was Habtum lost the wheel. Somewhere, somehow. Like I said, I'm going to reassess those stages because it's definitely not going to come down to the mountain ones. It's not going to come down to the medium mountain ones. Samuels with a +5 on the right profile, maybe. He would need to be on his fitness peak before I would even consider that he might have that +5. Otherwise, I've got to load up stages and play through them anyway, even though we're not built for it and we didn't get the ratings we needed. We won't see too many stages of this Giro, but that's our first. We're 4 stages in. Ironsman has won this stage. Let's get a look at the GC, and then we'll call it an episode. That's a 1-2-3 from the same team there, by the way. Team National Bing with that 1-2-3. Mads Pedersen leads overall from Palace. Aragave. Habtum is 17th. Carlos is 23rd. Samuels is 26th. And De Villiers is 29th. Fortunately, they're already far enough out of it to not be a threat. That's a good thing. It allows you to make attacks, escape at times. Aronsman, Rodriguez, and Gegenhardt, and Ghana, and Martina. Jeez. They got 5 guys in the top 11. Carlos picked up 18 points at the top of that climb. All 18 that he has. He was first over the top, but for now, he's definitely not in it. And Carlos is not strong enough to win it, so we will not suddenly change focus here and go for the KOM. Samuels isn't going to win it either. Don't have enough time to commit the stages to get him the points to have a shot at it. That's going to do it for this episode. I'm Decathlon Gamer. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one. Be safe out there. Bye for now.